Hello, everyone. This is a request. One weird fact about all 4 or 5 presidents. So, we're going to watch it. I just did the vice presidents. I added some stuff, little comments here and there, little gems. And let's just jump into this right now. If you don't know anything about the presidents, they're these people in the United States.
George Washington may have been the father of our country, but he never fathered any biological children. John Adams was the defense attorney for the 8 British soldiers responsible for killing 5 American colonists in the Boston Massacre. It's fairly well known at this point that Thomas Jefferson had an affair with his slave Sally Hemings, but the lesser known fact is her relation to his wife, Martha Wales. Martha's father was John Wales, who had an affair with Sally Hemings' mother, leading many historians to believe that Jefferson's wife and mistress were half-sisters.
He also had a parakeet named Dick.
He may have been the smallest president we've ever had, standing at just 5'4", but James Madison was on the second biggest dollar bill ever printed. This is a famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River, and this is James Monroe. John Quincy Adams won the
Oh, hold on. Let's go back to that painting just a second. Just a second. I want to point out something, another person in that painting. And that's me. I'm kidding. This guy right here, that is his second in command. That's Washington's his servant slave. And that is Billy Lee. William Lee, who had a brother, Frank Lee. And if you ever go to the home and you're looking at the mansion, the right-hand side was not the kitchen. Was it the kitchen? Yeah, maybe it was. But above that, the sleeping quarters there was where Frank Lee stayed, which has nothing to do with Billy Lee, but Billy Lee, we'll just get on with it.
Famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River, and this is James Monroe. John Quincy Adams won.
By the way, I apologize. James Monroe during the Revolutionary War was shot in through the collarbone, shot around the collarbone. It severed an artery, and he was saved by a doctor that was running up the hill nearby, saw him, and saved him. Severed an artery. I gotta believe 1776 artery surgery was not the same as today.
The 1824 election, despite losing both the popular vote and the Electoral College. In 1806, Andrew Jackson challenged Charles Dickinson to a duel. Dickinson shot Jackson in the chest. Jackson, unfazed, raised his pistol and killed Dickinson. Jackson carried that bullet in his chest, as well as another from a different duel, for the rest of his life. Martin Van Buren had a New York gang named after him in the sitcom Seinfeld.
I'm taking on the entire Van Buren boys. Van Buren boys? Yeah. There's a street gang named after President Martin Van Buren?
William Henry Harrison was allegedly cursed by an American Indian, which, legend has it, led to his death and the deaths of 6 other sitting presidents. John Tyler was born in 1790 and still, as of this recording 230 years later, has 2 living grandsons.
Yep.
James K. Polk decided not to run for re-election in 1848 and died of cholera 3 months after leaving office. Zachary Taylor did run for president in 1848. 2 years later, he got sick from eating cherries and milk at a 4th of July celebration and died 5 days later. Some speculate that he was poisoned. Millard Fillmore personally fought a fire that was overtaking the Library of Congress. Franklin Pierce is widely regarded as the hottest president. James Buchanan.
Franklin Pierce, by the way, when he ran for president and he won, his wife told him, please don't do it, please don't do it. Don't accept the position. And of course, he was a wealthy landowner and stuff like that from the northeast. And his wife was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And he's just like, back then, the nation needs, a wealthy, rich white man like me. So he jumped on a train with his wife and I don't remember if it was a son or a daughter. I think a son. On the way in, the train derails and tips over. And I want to say there could have been a few deaths, but there was definitely one death, and that was his child. And his wife was consolable. No, not inconceivable. Consolable. What's the word? Couldn't console her. No, that doesn't sound right. The bitch cried a lot. How about that? So every time he was around her, she just would break down. Clearly, she just took it out on him the entire 4 years he was president. And I understand. It turned him into a raging drunk, and his cabinet would come in to the meetings, where they were going to have the meetings, and just find empty booze bottles all over the table, and him just basically sitting in his chair like a kid at school, just head on the desk, passed out drunk. They got to the point where they would just start having meetings because he wouldn't even have showed up. He just fell apart. His home life, the relationship with his wife basically deteriorated. I have a book on him. I started reading it and I didn't finish it. But man, that could not have been a fun life from then on. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. Back to this.
May have been gay. Abraham Lincoln's favorite food was oysters. Andrew Johnson never went to school. Ulysses S. Grant was supposed to be at Ford's Theater with Lincoln the night he was shot, but his wife despised Mary Todd Lincoln, and Grant didn't particularly want to go, possibly saving his life. Rutherford V. Hayes owned the first Siamese cat in America and named him Siam. After James Garfield was shot, Alexander Graham Bell tried to use a makeshift metal detector to find the bullet in Garfield's abdomen. Chester Alan Arthur chose to pronounce his middle name with the emphasis on the second syllable, so he was actually Chester Allen Arthur. Grover Cleveland was both the 22nd and 24th president. Benjamin Harrison was the last American president with a beard. William McKinley had a pet parrot named Washington Post. While running for a third term as president on a third-party ticket, Theodore Roosevelt was shot while giving a speech in Milwaukee. The bullet lodged itself near his ribs, where it would remain for the rest of his life, but Roosevelt finished the speech. There's a popular myth that William Howard Taft got stuck in a bathtub while he was president. There's no real evidence that that actually happened, but Taft did get stuck in a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court after being president, the only president to do so. Woodrow Wilson kept a flock of sheep on the White House lawn. In 2014, letters between Warren Harding and one of his mistresses were released to the public, revealing that Harding used Jerry as a code name for his penis. Calvin Coolidge was known as Silent Cal. Legend has it that during a dinner party, a woman bet him that she could get at least 3 words from him during the evening. At the end of a silent night, Coolidge turned to her and said, "You lose." Herbert Hoover.
No, that's not how it happened. The agreement was he went to the party, and this particular woman had made a bet that she could get him to say more than 2 words. And the person hosting the event and everything had arranged for where everyone sat. She sat next to him. As the party was basically, like the dinner was starting, she looked at him and said that she had made a bet with the hostess that she could get him to say more than 2 words. And he looked at her and said, "You lose." And he never spoke again for the rest of that dinner conversation. He didn't have time for other people's nonsense. He just kept to himself so much. That's how his story went. Not to criticize it, that was how it went.
Was a Quaker. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was married to Anna Eleanor, the niece and goddaughter of then-President Theodore Roosevelt. Oh, and she was also his 5th cousin. Harry S. Truman's parents could not decide whether his middle name should be Solomon or Ship. So they compromised and had the S stand for nothing. Dwight D. Eisenhower banned squirrels from the White House lawn. He had Secret Service catch them and release them into Rock Creek Park so that they wouldn't damage his putting green. The average person can read 250 to 300 words per minute. John F. Kennedy could reportedly read 1,200 words per minute. Lyndon B. Johnson started his career as a teacher. In order to make ends meet on a Great Depression-era teacher's salary, Johnson also worked as the school's janitor. Richard Nixon was a Quaker. Gerald Ford was a model. Jimmy Carter swears that he saw a UFO. Ronald Reagan was an actor and was almost strangled to death by a chimp while filming 1951's Bedtime for Bonzo. George H.W. Bush celebrated his 85th birthday by skydiving. In 2012, while appearing on NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, Bill Clinton correctly answered 3 trivia questions about the television show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. George W. Bush owned the Texas Rangers and infamously facilitated the trade of Sammy Sosa. David Beckham gave Barack Obama 50 pairs of boxer briefs. Donald Trump may have bathmophobia, which is an irrational fear of stairs. Know any more weird facts about presidents? Leave them in the comments.
He may have bathnophobia. A thing of fear of stairs. Huh. That one's weird. I didn't know that even existed. There's a lot of weird things out there you don't know are true. That one was he could have, so I wouldn't take that as well, it could be true. I mean, hell, what do you know? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I apologize if my voice sounds a little farther away from the mic. I'm thinking about getting a new mic that will attach to this desk that I can, move away, and it'll squeak and it'll annoy people. I don't know why I keep doing this. This is not a good thing to do right here. Yeah, I shouldn't do this. I should stop right now. I'm going to stop. All right. We didn't just witness that, but we did. So, like and subscribe. 109% of you who watch my videos don't subscribe, and that's not cool. So, if you're not going to subscribe, then I'm going to not allow you to watch my videos anymore. Have a good day, have a good night.